I have the best to ever do it. We're all back once again. So the NBA Finals have started, and with some new teams on the block, we need the best people on the block to reflect on it, review it, and most of all, preview what is about to take place over the next 6 games. So having said that, once again, the Productive Conversations podcast basketball crew is here and better than ever. With that, I have Alex Ranniello. What's going on, Alex?
What's going on, boys? How we doing?
Great to have you. David Bach, aka the host of Fresh Faces New Ideas on Twitch.
Good, man. I'm glad to be here.
Yes. And also we have Dolo Ren and Barz Tha God, hosts of the Word for Word podcast and Dolo Reacts. What's going on, gentlemen?
Matt Bunny, what's going on, man?
You already know how it is, man. We over here chilling, cooling, getting ready to get the sports talk going.
Let's get to it right away, guys. So, NBA Finals. Milwaukee Bucks versus the Phoenix Suns. Game 2 is tonight. Game 1 took place on Tuesday with the Suns routing the Bucks at home 118-105. So let's just focus on this matchup. I think a lot of us had a good idea that the Phoenix Suns would get into this spot. And then the Bucks at first, there was a good chance that they won the planning to win the East. Then when the Nets started to adding players like Blake Griffin, Kevin Durant, Marcus Aldridge at a point, they thought they were winning the East. But turns out that the Bucks still prevailed. And even at one point with a hurt Giannis, they were able to knock off Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. And now they won the East. The West is here after their unique journey, and with the Suns defeating LeBron and the Lakers, then taking down the Nuggets and Jokic, and as well as taking down a Kawhi-less LA Clippers team. So I want to focus on something again, focusing on this matchup. We've obviously seen that this postseason has been all about injuries. Every single team has been affected by the injury bug one way or another, and a major star. So in terms of this matchup of the Bucks and the Suns, some people have criticized both teams, saying that this was quote unquote the easiest run for both teams as they both made to the finals with all their injuries. So I want to know if you guys feel the same way. Do both these teams deserve to be here? Are they just the best, were able to make the best out of the worst circumstances? We'll start with Alex on this one. How do you feel about the matchup in general?
Well, I think it's easy to say that they both, of course, deserve to be here. I mean, they're NBA professional teams. They've practiced and worked their asses off all year. Injuries always play a factor, but the same, went for the Toronto Raptors, a couple of years ago with KD and Clay going out in the finals. So it's just part of the game. These guys were ready to and prepared, and they still had to perform when they were called upon. So I'm all for them, the notion of them being where they deservedly are. I think that, as injuries play a role, it just kind of makes you wonder, how the teams are going to be constructed moving forward. I think a big part of the unknown with the series is it's small market teams. The teams, are spread out and diverse talent-wise, 3 and D for the most part, and they're well balanced. And the coaching is a little suspect on both sides, but it's nice to see fresh faces in it and some of the younger stars. It feels like a passing of the torch this year.
Passing of the torch. Yeah, it's funny. Without your LeBrons, without your Kawhis, without your Steph Currys, you now have a Giannis and a Devin Booker-led teams. And yeah, it is showing new generations taking place. Bach, how do you feel about the matchup? Was this surprising? Do you think we're going to get some great basketball out of this? We saw some fun in game 1. So what are you thinking?
Well, first, we have to recognize that no matter who wins, Torrey Craig is an NBA champion. Then
it's funny how that works.
This idea that like injuries change the finals. I don't remember hearing a lot about this, the first Warriors title, where if you think about that year, every single major team lost multiple players. Like the first year the Warriors won the title, they basically played LeBron and his second best player was Matt Dellavedova.
Yeah.
So Kyrie and it wasn't like these teams didn't deal with their own injuries. CP3 like fucked up his shoulder right away. Then he screwed up his hand. Then he got COVID or had COVID or something with COVID.
Right.
And then Giannis was out for the 2 games because apparently he really is made out of like plastic because his knee like turned the wrong direction. And then he's like, okay, now I'm coming back. So we're gonna see a good game. And it's not like these teams didn't deal with their own injuries, but they were, you still have to beat who's in front of you. Like the Hawks played against them for 2 games without Giannis, and they won the first game when they didn't have Trey. So it's not like they didn't have the ability to win these games. You just have to step up to the level of your competition. And these are the teams that were fortunate enough to do it.
Absolutely. Dolo, Barz, what do you have to add on to how this matchup has unfolded?
Well, I'll let Dolo go on this one.
Well, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys know as much, but I'm sort of an Instagram menace, and I go on a lot of sports pages.
Oh, I know this.
I talk a lot
I
of
love
shit.
it.
I was gonna say, Matt liked one of my comments because that narrative CP3 having like the luckiest route to a finals.
Mm-hmm.
But like this guy tried so hard to make everyone believe this thing in his comment. And then I just commented, I replied like LMFAO clown excuses. I think I put a clown emoji, and Matt saw it and he liked it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, come on.
Got a
Matt,
solid like 5 likes out of that in a popular page. See,
yes, sir.
one step closer to the virality, if that's even a word for it.
Right?
It's a word now, baby.
We always try, but
we gotta make it up words here.
It's
Listen.
just like just want to add one more thing. Like it's like CP3 has been injured so many times. He's he's had a lot of bad luck throughout his career, and then to say that like all right, it's a fair statement that there's a lot of injuries that happen, but to criticize his run to this finals, like you're just I don't know. I just don't respect that.
Mm-hmm.
CP3, he's been through a lot. So, and he also caught COVID, like David mentioned before. So, like, come on, man, you got to give him his flowers while he's still here.
Hear that.
Just to touch on a little bit of what everybody said, like Alex said, injuries, like, were a big plague, like Batch said, nobody complained when it was just LeBron and Matt Dellavedova. You know what I'm saying? So the issue here is you got to come down and look at it. If you want to discredit CP3 for his nice little run, then you pretty much got to discredit everybody's run because, I don't know, half of the Cavaliers was hurt, or the half of the good side was hurt at least. That they lose, they come back healthy. Golden State loses, they run for Kevin Durant. So you tell me, you know what I'm saying? Like, the minute KD, Clay get hurt, everything goes down. I would love to discredit Toronto's ring, but you can't. So it is what it is. You can't discredit Chris Paul's. Like, I bet if you got to discredit, you can discredit it if he's got like 18 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds. The man put up 32 and 9 in his first final appearance.
And there's there's cause and effect to every injury, right? Like in the offseason, like KD decided to take his talents elsewhere because he saw the fragility of the franchise and the historic run that the Warriors were on kind of waning, and I see the same, kind of phenomena happening with how players are playing this series too. Like, I don't know. That's just how I see it.
Listen,
I don't think there's a single title where you can go back and say that there was no injuries that influenced it in one way or another.
D Wade was basically hurt like the whole time LeBron was there. Not really hurt, but he was a shell of himself. Weak knees. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they still put it up. And
that first series against the Spurs, he and Manu basically traded games being washed up the whole series. It was like ridiculous.
I would listen. I hate the Spurs, but Manu Ginobili is like enshrined forever. Like, I don't know. You can't talk bad about Manu.
He's the best second round pick of all time.
You can't talk bad about Manu. He's like, I don't know, Luka and Dirk. but I feel like he's one of
He's the best foreign player of
form.
all time.
Yo, Manu
No, he's the
Ginobili.
best. He's the best sixth man of all time.
Yeah.
Well, that's all. Yeah, and he's
And then
also the
Lou-
best
and then-
second round pick of all
yeah.
time.
Let's be objective. Yeah, and the best second round pick.
Lou Williams got
Great shot.
Lou Williams got a lot to live up to. Like if Lou Williams was on the Hawks, they would have made it. I would have.
The only comparison to wait, Lou Williams was on the Hawks. The only comparison for second round picks would be or for six man would be Bill Walton at the end of his career, where he's on 86 Celtics, I think.
Yes, that was his big ride to glory. Though he led Portland to championship in the late 70s, but yeah, that was the big move there that changed the NBA for good. But yeah, but another thing I like to talk about with this: Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Phoenix, Arizona. Though great, beautiful American cities, they aren't exactly quote unquote big markets like in New York, Chicago, LA. And though I think anyone who's a true basketball fan can appreciate the two matches of these two teams that no one saw, despite the ratings fear that, the higher ups could worry about. Do you feel this matchup is great for the casual fan versus the hardcore NBA fan? And if you're a true basketball fan, like these are the two best teams that we got out of here. How does the matchup look on that perspective with these, like I said, new teams on the block? Fight both. The Suns have never won a finals, and the Bucks haven't won since the 50s. And with
70s.
Kareem,
74.
sorry,
It's been
70s.
50
With
years, yeah.
it's been 50 years, and they won with Kareem before he went to the Lakers. How do we feel about the matchup in that sense? And I don't know, historical perspective, are we lucky, or is this just what we get?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, because it's not like these teams don't have star power. CP3 and Giannis.
Yeah.
Giannis is a 2 times MVP. CP3 is considered the best point guard of his generation, possibly one of the top 4 of all time, depending on whether or not they win. But if anything, it's more for the unheraldedness of drafting. Think about who we're talking about for drafting. Giannis was 15. Devin Booker was 13. Chris Middleton was a second round pick. Other than Ayton, CP3, and Brooke Lopez, how many of these guys were Bridges was a top 10. I don't remember where Holiday was drafted, but most of these guys are late lottery guys.
Yep.
So they're all homegrown.
I want to say
the other thing is this is the first final since 2010 where the leading scorers are still playing on the team that drafted them.
Wow, that's a great stat.
That's crazy.
Dedication right there.
Even
Russ is
Booker was
nuts.
the 6th best guy in Kentucky. I mean,
Yeah,
That Kentucky team should have won. Oh, other rated storyline is Frank Kaminsky going back to Wisconsin. And now he's got to play more because Frank the Tank has to play more because Dario Saric tore his ACL. So
is it official? It's an ACL?
Yeah, it's official
Oh.
ACL. And he's considered questionable because somehow a 1.5-year injury is going to solve itself in 3 weeks.
Drew
So
Holiday
we're gonna
was the
see.
17th pick.
We're going to see Milwaukee's faithful if they can if they're going to cheer on the best college player they've had in a decade.
Yeah, that's the great thing about basketball right now. And what were you saying, Barz? Though you had a point. I didn't hear that.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just chiming in. Drew Holiday was the 17th pick,
Okay, so that's another
Yeah.
late guy.
and
Exactly.
he's a what? 2 or 3 time all defense, NBA all defense.
I know he's an
So-
all-star once.
So listen, look. The thing here is, how do you say it? It's a little bit of both. To tell you the truth, this is what we get, but this is exciting. You know what I'm saying? Because if CP3 wasn't there, it'd be Devin Booker, and it'd be straight the book show. That's it.
Right?
Can this
Oh,
kid
hell
do
yeah.
it? Can this young boy who done put up 70? Was it 70?
Yeah, on the Celtics.
73 or something.
Get him a chip. Can he get him a chip? That's the narrative would be ridiculous right now. It'd be him and Ayton.
Yeah, and the Ayton went off in the
Ayton,
first game.
You know what I'm saying?
Ayton
And honestly,
went ballistic.
looking at that
How-
game, if Giannis is healthy, that it's a scary situation because he was
Right.
he was fucking eating up, bro. And Giannis when he scored 20 points, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play I'd be so surprised if he doesn't play tonight. So
Yeah, but you had a great block. In
That
game
yo, that
two.
block.
Yeah. Parallel
Yo.
of the
The
finals
sad thing
block
is
in Game
like
7.
that's gonna be because they lost the game. That's gonna just be a play that's lost to history.
yeah, and
Yeah,
what if that block that he worked so hard for on Tuesday is why he doesn't play tonight? I'm just saying, like, who knows? He's
He's gonna
questionable.
play tonight.
Like,
No,
he's gonna play.
I don't
I
think
mean,
Yo,
they're paying him a lot of
he-
money, you know.
Yo, listen, they're paying him a lot of
Yeah,
money,
might have
but
to-
that doesn't mean that you risk your life. You heard what I'm saying? Your well-being. Like, he's hurt. Like, dude's hurt. Like, he's playing hurt. I know he's playing hurt. Giannis would have scored like 30, 40 first game. You know he would have. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's whatever.
Man,
Well,
it's,
he's on
GM
minutes
was
restriction.
waiting
This is
for
it for
a lot.
Giannis. This is it. Giannis, like we said.
I
This
don't know
is
if it's
exciting
it.
because Giannis is
Nah,
the
this
Greek
ain't
freak.
it.
No, not this isn't it. But like, this is it.
I
He's
see
the
what you're
Greek
saying.
freak.
This is the best
Two-time
shot he's going to get, but it's not the last shot.
It's
Right.
not the last
'Cause
shot.
he's still
but-
what? He's what 25?
Right.
Yeah, he's so young.
But he, you know what I'm saying? He's the Greek, like I said. Now let's switch it over to the Bucks, right? Now it's the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the monster blocker, the monster. Like, I can't shoot a three, but I'll spin and take it on you in the paint. Like, we're talking about
Tossed Ayton.
2-time MVP,
Fact.
2-time.
Back
Same
to back.
time, but we're gonna see. They
So-
did say that a different sport. They said that
Defensive
about
player
Dan
of the year
Marino. And he
So
never
listen,
made that,
I mean, listen, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you something about Dan Marino's and Charles Barkley's. Yo, they're great, but we don't talk about them without that hardware. I mean, we do, but they need that hardware, yo. And it's sad because I'm from that era where you need that hardware. I'm sorry, like
definitely. What's up,
like
Alex?
stats are nice. You're great. Oh, you're real cool. Like Oscar Robertson was real good. How many rings did Oscar Robertson have?
One.
One.
One. Damn, that's good.
He won that Bucks ring. With
Three.
I know you got
Yeah.
this
So-
one.
So I think to answer Matt's question, I think it's great for both the fans, the competition, and the ratings. It's kind of a trifecta. Now, hear me out on this because it sounds a little more optimistic than objective. But
Mhm.
I think for the fans, it's great because the narrative for the past 5 or so years has been like, guys are taking games off and they're trivially, teaming up with their friends and going to bigger cities.
Yep.
So the turnover is just insane. Fans can't get invested, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's great for the fans because it actually got 2 smaller market teams that are, at the pinnacle, at the best competition. I think for the competition's sake, I think it's great because, like I said, you get that trivialness. You get, everybody with a puncher's chance moving forward, especially with like the younger guys taking center stage like Booker and Giannis. Like, I think it's great for the league shifting, in a healthy and a positive way, from some of the guys on their way out, in the next few years. And I
Mhm.
think it's great for the ratings, even though it doesn't say so, because usually if there's no great rivalry in the mix, like Lakers Celtics or like the Cavs Warriors type of thing,
Mhm.
the Warriors not really going to reflect that, but the turnover is just going to keep compounding things. And I think that we're still seeing a transition in the numbers with a lot of the streaming services. So I just think it hits on all 3 cylinders. I think we're in a good spot.
Oh yeah, I think so too. You have these teams that are more team-oriented basketball as well, which is one reason why people really like watching college basketball, March Madness, because there's no egos playing against each other. It's just pure team basketball. And yeah, and game 1 was entertaining. Did end in a 13-point lead, but it was really fun throughout, and we're excited to see what happens tonight. And having said that, I want to focus on each team and their keys to victory. What's it going to take for the Suns, who already won game 1? What else must they need to do to secure this bag and get those last 3 victories?
I think that Ayton needs to step up, put a bit more body on Giannis. Giannis is like skinnier than Ayton, but I guess he's longer. Maybe, I guess, I don't know. But he was just, from what I seen, he was just kind of backing man's down, pushing him in, like back up, son. Like, I don't know how Ayton is, but I don't know. He needs to play. He needs to play with his chest because I feel like if they can stop Giannis from getting into the inside, force Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton plays like he deserves to be a 2nd-round pick, so we're gonna keep that there. I just wanted to sneak that in.
Why do you say that?
Because he's like,
Yeah, 29, 7, and 4.
29, 7, and 4.
Yeah.
Right? Like on Tuesday. tonight, is he gonna have 13, 1, and 5?
Right, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
Consistent.
That's what
Yeah,
I
But
mean.
he's got the
streaky.
firepower, though. He's got streaky.
Got the firepower. So he's streaky, and that's why he deserves to be in the second round. That's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Like, but then you have a lot of first rounders that don't deserve to be in the first round anyway. So yeah, you got that. But what I'm saying is, if you could force Chris Middleton to shoot the basketball, if you could force Drew Holiday to play good, if you could stop Giannis and but at the same time stop him from coming inside, but you don't want him to start feeling himself and shooting threes and start banking threes. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just want to make it really uncomfortable for that leg. And CP3 has to be on. He can't be wishy-washy. Because he's another one of those players that gets wishy-washy. Booker, he's got to play like Booker had what? 27 points?
Yeah, Booker was
Box
decent,
score. I'll
but he
pull up
was
the
like
box score right now.
He hit
One
like
for 8
1
from
out of
3.
8 3-point shots.
It gets harsh. And both teams shoot too many threes. So they need to dial it back and only really shoot it when you feel it.
Ding, ding, ding.
For real, that's the biggest thing for both teams right now. They really shooting too many threes. They really gotta like play smarter, well-paced basketball. But at the same time, the Suns could turn the pace when CP3 is on the bench and Cameron Payne's running the ball, because they move as a much more younger team. CP3 is much more methodical point guard. So the ball, the court does. He controls the court. He controls the ball. So the pace is different. Cam Payne control the ball too, but he's got that youth, that aggression. You know what I'm saying? They play with a faster pace when he's on the court. So like I said, Ayton, Booker, Chris Paul, how they use campaign, that matters for the Suns. For the Bucks, how healthy Giannis is, how often and well they use Brook Lopez on the switches and all that stuff. They need to start picking up on that more, because Brook Lopez was low key doing his thing. Chris Middleton has to be on. He's got to feel it He's got to feel it. Like, I don't know, going to the studio, I'm going to the locker room, cut the lights out, put your headphones on, and just stare at that shit with your little fish eyes and imagine that you're back in Atlantis or whatever, and just start stooping threes, bro. But you got to do that shit, bro. Like, Chris Middleton has to go off. I'm sorry. I think he looks like a fish. That was bad. I'm sorry.
I'm weak as hell. I just caught that. Oh, you dead wrong for that.
Yeah, I am a little bit.
I mean, but he is a very streaky player.
And Drew Holiday literally has to play like he deserves to be in the finals right now, because he was on Philly and he was good in Philly. He was on New Orleans, solid. But now here you are with a chance to win a ring, at your name down. Like, come on.
No, I mean, Jay
that's
Crowder
just my take.
Worse. I think Jay Crowder played worse than Drew Holiday.
Well, he did, but they have different positions.
Yeah, for sure. I do.
I mean, Jay Crowder obviously is the only one with final experience, but it's about now at this point, it's about defensive matchups. I think shifting Crowder off of I don't know who he's probably PJ Tucker or something, and then having him guard Giannis to start, I think is better, because I think you're going to live with Lopez spacing the floor, and it's more about keeping in closer to the rim to help stop the Giannis drives. And then on defense,
he does a decent job defending Giannis.
Right, because Aiden's too small to guard Giannis 1-on-1. We saw him toss him.
The
other thing for Milwaukee. So Milwaukee has two things they have to work on. They can't do their switch coverage. What they need to do is have have Holiday chase over the screens and not have Lopez drop back or Bobby Portis drop far so back, because this isn't like with Trae Young shooting floaters. We're talking about Chris Paul shooting and Devin Booker pulling up from mid-range where they're very good. So they have to pressure that, and switching them is, look, Brook Lopez was fine against Atlanta on the switches, but it's a different beast playing them. And I have to say, Devin Booker gets some bullshit ass calls. It's very frustrating to watch sometimes. But on the other side, like, Holiday has to be the same aggressiveness that he was in games 5 and 6 for Atlanta. If I'm the Suns, I'm going to sag off him a little and kind of like bait him into shooting three, because the dude cannot shoot like at all. But if he gets in the lane, that he's strong. He's just gonna figure out how to muscle. So they
You talking
have
about
to.
Holiday?
Yeah, Holiday. He's having a hard. So they got to like kind of bait him into shooting threes. But it's really like it's the defensive adjustments more. And I think really like the thing they have to worry about in the offseason is their bench is so bad. Like it is so bad. Like Jeff Teague, like we're in 2020. Jeff Teague should not be getting meaningful minutes off a bench.
Yeah, right.
Jeff Teague. I didn't realize Jeff Teague was over there. Are you serious?
Yeah.
He once
He's their
looked at my
backup point guard
story.
because Brent Forbes is like Danny Green except smaller. Like Danny Green has been in the league for like 2 decades. The man cannot dribble. Brent Forbes still can't dribble. It's like
Right, might
Pat
as well
Connaughton
have
hustles,
him out
but he's not gonna like give you all that. Like the dude can drive too. Like he can make the move off the dribble, but it's a bench. Like the bench for Phoenix is just better.
Like,
And I think they got to try to use Lopez more when they take Giannis out. Like, don't bring them both out. Let Lopez eat in the post, especially if they're gonna have to drop Aiden for Frank. Let Lopez eat on Frank.
So, Bach, just remember though too, the bench always plays better at home. Just let's take that into consideration.
It does. It does. Objectively, Milwaukee's bench is terrible. It's Bobby Portis, and then maybe you'll get like 10 points from the rest of them.
Connaughton, yeah.
Yo, real quick. If the Suns win, right, how you think Michael Jordan will feel when Mikal Bridges and Frank Kaminsky win a ring?
Mikal Bridges wasn't in Charlotte.
He wasn't
traded for
wasn't in
Philly.
Charlotte?
No, he was traded for Zaire Smith for Philly.
You're thinking of another Bridges, I believe.
Yeah, you're thinking of Miles Bridges.
Yeah,
He's still
Miles Bridges.
in
Sorry.
But I mean, they still had Frank. They could have gotten like 6 first-rounders for Justice Winslow, but they took Frank instead.
They hated the Frank pick. Everyone hated the Frank pick. I had faith in the Frank pick. You know what I'm saying?
I loved Frank in college. Look, they should have won the title because they beat that Kentucky team. Was like if Cal had given it like half of a fuck, that team would have gone undefeated.
Yeah.
But
Sam Decker was nasty too, though.
Yeah, until he got to the NBA. It's what his only highlight is when he was on the Knicks. He dribbled the ball off his face.
My point is, don't fall in love with the championship runs in the NCAA tournament because they don't translate.
Facts.
What are you talking about? Mitch McGary's an NBA All-Star.
Trey Burke.
Oh, is he?
Trey Burke. Victor Oladipo. Which Zeller was on that Indiana team?
Oh no, Cody was on the Indiana, but Tyler's like one of the undisputed like best NCAA players of all time.
How about this name, Tyler Hansbrough?
That's what we're talking about.
Oh wow!
Oh, you talking about? I was talking about
Zeller. I'm talking about Tyler Hansbrough. You know what I'm talking about?
That's what I meant. I don't know why.
Great North Carolina play.
Garbage in the league.
Yeah, they're not a good.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that.
It's not Trey Burke. He works. You still see him put out the output. Victor Oladipo had it his first 2 years in the league.
He had it the 1 year in Indiana before his hamstring fell.
Yeah, right. That was when he was actually bussing. And you're right. I want to say what? That's when they were he had him in playoff contention. I know that much.
Yeah, they lost the Cavs in 7.
See,
I hope Oladipo makes his comeback. So
me too.
Barz, you should too. He's in Miami.
I am a Utah fan now. I'm a Utah fan now.
Jazz fan.
But I will always treasure Miami. So I do hope for his return. We gotta hurry up so we can get to that Miami talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about Tyler Hero before we popped in.
Oh yes, Dolo. What do you think is the key to victories if the Suns are going to go on top with what's left?
I mean, from what I saw, from the highlights that I was able to see the other night, and from from everything I know about both teams, the Suns, it's like like I said, Jay Crowder was just atrocious. Yeah, I barely even want to talk about him. There's really I don't know what the hell's going on with him. Chris Paul, I feel like he has a bad like the thing with sports is like, sometimes you got a wild card, and right now I feel like CP3 has like the battery in his back. I feel like he could like taste it, like like he could taste that championship. So I feel like Chris Paul is gonna keep on playing. Devin Booker's,
We're about to see
he's
CP3
got
to
to be more
CP3.
consistent with the 3-point shot. I'm sorry.
We're about to see CP3 to CP3 as he's going to be flopping like crazy.
Oh my God.
He's going to
Yo.
be doing whatever he can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, he'll
You
do.
thought the DeMarcus Cousins flop is bad? Wait till Giannis looks at him funny and he falls down.
Oh, it's so
my
crazy how
That's
flopping.
that's a good point. He's gonna do what it takes, and yeah, Devin Booker's has got to be more consistent with the three, or maybe not, maybe he really doesn't have to. I mean, the thing is
It's just a threat because he can drive and he took what, like 15 free throws?
right.
Listen.
They set a finals record for free throws in that fucking game. How are you
Listen.
going to tell me a team with
I agree with
Milwaukee
that.
isn't leading isn't getting more free throws? Giannis can't shoot
Thank
outside
you.
of 4 feet.
Thank you.
Listen.
right.
Listen.
Wait till Scott Foster starts refereeing again. Then we'll see.
Man scored 70 points.
Oh man.
He's
All
not. He's more than a threat. He's a catastrophe if he's on. Like he's a natural disaster for your basketball. Like if he's hot that night. What if Chris Paul's like, you know what, Book? It's on you. I ain't making no shots tonight.
Well,
You think Book could lead the charge like that?
Hell, positively, yes. I think all the way. I think Book has more than is more than capable. Like,
y'all keep freezing on me.
yeah. Playground dog. Bully. Like straight up. Like Book got it in him. And right now, he can taste the championship. Like the sad part is I feel like it's gonna stunt his growth.
What a
Winning
time.
the championship early.
You think stunting it? Why is
Elaborate
that?
on that.
Yeah.
He's young. I feel like that hardware is gonna get to his head.
Really?
Yeah. 8-2. Aiden already beat TikToking. I ain't calling that nigga maybe. So
No, I
Like,
think
I can see.
Like,
more
I feel
so
like
at
young,
8
like,
maybe.
I don't know,
about
like
Book.
I don't know, like, and then I don't know. Back in the day, when guys that just came in won rings, they were like already grown men. They
Right.
already, they thought with a different mentality. These
Right,
kids
right.
is literally still kids, just coming up with a number. Yeah, they 20, but they still kids. They're 22, they still kids though. They still think like kids.
Well, the thing with
So-
Devin Booker, I feel like he's a little bit more mature. I think he's
they were terrible for like 4 years before they were before last year. I think it's the opposite.
Right,
You've
he's gonna
already
grow.
watched him get so much better. I think the real issue for Phoenix is, oh shit, what do we do when this window closes? You guys, they have like what, 2 more good Chris Paul years?
And that's what's gonna happen though. They're gonna win. He's gonna win the ring. He's gonna be like, yeah, I did it. And he's gonna stagnate real quick.
Well,
So you think he's got the Steph? You think he's at the Steph Curry drive?
No, here's the thing.
You're
Here's
talking
the thing.
about Chris Paul not having the drive? Like,
But-
No, I'm talking about Devin Booker. I'm talking about Devin Booker.
He thinks he's the new Kobe.
But-
Of course he's gonna have the drive.
Bars. What they're going to do is they're going to elevate over time, over the next 2 years, as Chris Paul starts to kind of rise in the sunset. They're going to try to get campaign more minutes throughout the entire year so he can rest and take nights off so he can transition slowly. But they're going to keep this thing rolling for at least 3 years.
Yeah, and they're
So
gonna
that's why he's so
Porter
important.
Bridges.
You think that they could be the new potential Warriors, like the
No.
consecutive years?
No, they're not constructed like the Warriors. That's what's so cool about them. What I like about them is that they're constructed old fashioned. They got the draft picks that are coming of age. They got the veteran point guard that's the leader in the locker room, and they got 3-and-D guys that are tried and true, like Jay Crowder. They got it built the right way. That's the most important thing. So as you transition into the next year and the year after, you just make iterations of that team. You give guys more minutes. You allow Chris Paul to kind of take nights off. Like, that's how you keep this thing rolling.
Shout out to Jay Crowder, by the way. 2 years consecutively in the finals.
Yes.
Okay, but that's not like we're not talking about the Patrick McCaw every year for the first 3 years of his career. He won a title. But the other thing is, like, this is kind of taking away from not these two teams. If I'm Golden State, I'm sitting Wiseman down and saying, just watch Ayton. That's all you have to do.
That's
because
it.
if Wiseman does what Ayton did, there's no reason Golden State can't do the same shit.
I need them to get a little bit. I need them to get a little bit, but like a little bit of that Adebayo on though. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're taller, so they should be able. You know what I'm saying? So if they could move like him, get it. If they could move like him, it'd be
They
great.
don't even know.
You
They need a guy who just hustles, grabs boards, and dunks everything. That's all he needs. It's the same. It's like, well, Adebayo can't shoot at all. He's a better passer than them, but I think he's a little worse of a defender because he's smaller. But
if
like
Hassan Whiteside was any good, you know what I'm saying? That'd be the perfect fit.
The Golden State is built kind of similar to this, like to the Suns. I mean, if they sit Wiseman down and they say, hey, just do what Ayton's doing, and we'll be good. Because there's no reason for, and I think this is probably more knock on Steve Kerr than anything else. There's no reason to make this complicated. You don't have like the smart players anymore. You kind of have like basketball idiots.
You're so right on that.
Because we're talking about Andrew Wiggins versus Andre Iguodala. Like Wiggins maybe more athletic, but like there's no reason he can't look at this team like Steve Kerr could be like, why the fuck can't we do this? Steph Curry's at least as good as Chris Paul. I mean, the way they're going to shape the court is different. And the real issue there for them would be, well, what are we getting out of Clay now?
Okay,
because Draymond's not going to step up for that offense.
Well, no, that's the question that they need to ask. What are we going to get out of Draymond? Because we know we're going to get out of Clay once Clay
6
gets
points again.
Well, who, Clay?
No, from Draymond.
Oh yeah, word. You're right. If you know what I'm saying. So it's like and a stern talking to. Listen, Draymond can sit his ass down. I always thought Draymond was overhyped. Yeah, with Draymond, it did help them win those rings. And then they lost one, and then he cried to KD. And then KD helped them win the rest of them. Anyways, I digress.
He's arguably part of the reason why they lost that finals too.
No, he is the reason. I don't want to talk about that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he put up. He had a 30-point triple-double in Game 7. And
what I'm saying, it was too little, too late because Steph Curry was thrown in the first row. My point being is, if he didn't get bounced for Game 5, they would have won in 5.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Conspiracies for that. So,
but
hold up. While we're talking about this, while we're talking about conspiracies, real quick, the shameless plug right here. I'm doing a. I just hit affiliate. So if you subscribe to my channel, Fresh Faces New Ideas, I'm going to do a conspiracy episode where with all my subscribers. This counts as a conspiracy theory. We could discuss this at that channel.
Hey,
definitely let us know when that happens.
Now I want to talk Game 2.
Now, also, the other thing I'd like to also mention too is the other team in the mix, whether conspiracy or not. What are the keys to victory for the Bucks for them to come back starting tonight, if possible, or are they going to fall down? I think the Vegas, the highest percentage they thought was Suns in 5. What would the Bucks have to do to not make that happen? We'll start with Alex on this one. How does the Bucks, with what's going on, the Giannis injury, and you may need people to step up like a Chris Middleton and Drew. Yep. What do they need to do to win Game 2 and to continue on win the series overall?
Well, that's where it starts. Middleton and Drew Holiday. I mean, Middleton had a decent game, but it was like a little too late, too late, 12-26. You know what I mean? It wasn't good enough because he didn't really get it rolling until the third quarter when things were already kind of out of hand. I kind of feel the same with Drew Holiday. He had a tough night for 14 the other night. 10, 7, and 9 is just not going to cut it, especially on the road when the bench, the bench players are not going to be contributing that they would at home. But the X factor is completely Brook Lopez. Like, he was targeted on D all game with the pick and roll, and that's why they had to take him out. Besides the fact that he was getting foul trouble too. That's why he only had 14 minutes. And I think in addition to Lopez, I mean, the thing is, it's the same reason that I see Budenholzer having to make more in-game adjustments or any in-game adjustments at all. Bobby Portis needs more than 14 minutes. And as much as you guys want to shit on, Jeff Teague and Bryn Forbes, they need more minutes because what they need to do is they need to get physical with Chris Paul and Booker, and they need to start fighting through screens. Even if it means picking up early fouls, they need to establish a dominance early on and tempo and
Make them uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. They need to make them uncomfortable. They need to throw them off kilter, make other guys make shots. And the problem I see is that if you don't fight through screens and you don't stay with your man, even in failing to do so, you're still going to have an unfavorable switch. And that's why Brook Lopez keeps getting put on an island, because he's good enough to be out there. He's talented as all hell on the offense, but in defense, he just gets stuck in these pick and roll situations at the top of the key. And that's why they can't play him. So I think an amalgam of all those things is what they need to do to make adjustments for game 2 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said a lot of that. It's Holiday has to fight over the screens now I look like an angel. He's got to fight over the screens because you can't leave Brook Lopez on that island because he's going to pick up and this is the other thing. I think if you're going to be sitting people like Giannis, you need the offensive firepower. So one of either Giannis or Brook has to be in the paint pretty much at all times, pounding on them. I mean, Brook, he's just the dude is massive, and it's not like he just had a game like 3 games ago where he set his career high. He proved that he's going to stop them. Like if Holiday, when you're sitting Giannis, you run the pick and roll with Brook Lopez, but you can't leave him and Bobby Portis on an island because as crazy guys as Bobby Portis is, the dude, he's just not a good defender. He's just too small for it and they're just not going to be able to stay with Chris Paul and Booker. They're just going to drive right by them. But it's look, the bench, Bryn Forbes is too small. Bryn Forbes is slightly bigger than I am.
But that's okay though, because he needs to just be more active out on top of the key. He needs to be fighting.
I mean, he should be able to check campaign. The dude is the slowest jump shot I've ever seen.
Right.
So he should be okay for there. But it's Holiday has to not take shots from outside. He has to be aggressive and drive in. And to be fair to them, they missed a fuck ton of layups, like a metric fuck ton. And if they're the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the whole league. You got to be able to finish those. And then of course, obviously Ayton having almost a 2020 game impacts that. But now, Frank's not going to have the same impact that Sarge is going to have, and he's not going to have the same impact that Ayton has. So in the time that Giannis rests, you go at him with Brook. And then if you want to go back to the switching, you switch when you have Giannis at the 5. And I think if they're not going to switch with Giannis at the 5, it's more of an indication that his knee isn't as healthy as he lets on.
And that'll be the major fall and what if factor, if that's the case. But I guess if you are as good as you say you are, especially as a team, they will somehow, some way figure out how to win it. Now, Dolo, what do you all think is the key for the Bucks to overcome this very deep road ahead? But obviously, if you get to it, you win the finals. What do you think?
I mean, these 2 great gentlemen pretty much hit it right on the nail. Not too much more I can add except the fact that we seen Giannis play the way he did, which wasn't stellar, but was pretty damn good at being injured the way he is, it was telling. It was very telling. Put some icy hot on that knee, apply it for about 20 to 24 hours.
I don't think that's how you solve it.
Right. With Giannis, listen, man, that man is incredible.
Name is Giannis, my good sir.
That also sounded like it needs a disclaimer on that, because that sounds like medical advice that might get people hurt.
Disclaimer. The funny thing is, I did go to school for exercise science, but as you could tell, I dropped out. But Giannis is really just if he could get right, if he could find a strat and really put up them numbers that we were accustomed to seeing them doing, it could be the Bucks for sure. Like I said, Brook Lopez is they got to utilize him a little more. Don't put him out at the same time. Let them eat. These guys really hit it on the nail. Chris Middleton, I don't really have great hopes for. Yeah, Jeff Teague. Not much to say there, but yeah, man, I still see the Suns taking it, but I really do like this series, man. I really do like this series, like what the potential for it is. I still see the Suns taking it. The Bucks will have to do. I just think there's too much that they would have to like do to.
Like I saw the series going differently. I saw it Hawks Suns, but either way, I saw the West taking it this year. That's just how I saw it. A lot of strong teams on both sides, but it just came down to those top 4 teams in the West. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Whoever was those top 4 teams, and Jazz, Suns, Clippers is the wishy-washy one for me. The other team, it doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, it just like it doesn't really matter. I saw the West taking it. Right. What do the Bucks have to do? They got to do a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. Giannis got to be healthy.
Too much.
Giannis got to be healthy. Chris Middleton got to play good at every game. He's got to give him 27, 30 every game. Every game. No exceptions. You're the second best player on the team. You have to be the second best scorer, if not the leading scorer. There's no way that he is allowed to give under 25 points during this final run. Like that's it. It's unacceptable. And like, you know, like they said, don't have these 2 giants in the paint. Don't leave them on islands. You know what I'm saying? Don't like have them clogged it up, you know? Make good space for transitioning. Drew Holiday is a wishy-washy 3-point shooter, but if he's on, he might hit that bitch. He's got to be aggressive, period. If you watch that game on Tuesday, game 1, you would have seen that at one point he couldn't do nothing because he opted out of it. He opted out of a shot, and it was a turnover. Then you see him a couple plays later going hard, gets into the paint, gets physical, makes the play. You know what I'm saying? Drew Holiday got to be on. I don't know. Their bench needs to be evaporated and remade. I don't know.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's it. I got nothing else on it.
I think you can make it even more simple. If the Bucks don't insistently dominate the paint, or at least try to dominate the paint with their twin towers, with Portis and Giannis and Brook Lopez, and if Budenholzer doesn't make any adjustments, they may not even see a game 5. Like
Budenholzer's trash adjustment coach, yo.
But I'm saying like that trifecta there, that is their will to death right there. Like if they don't do any of those 3, there might be a sweep. Honestly,
they need to out rebound them. Period. They need to out rebound.
They need to dominate them all facets of the paint. Sorry.
That's right, and the tone will be set.
That's it
too. It's all on tonight.
Brook Lopez needs more than 14 shots tonight. I'm sorry.
Yes, he needs to be Brooklyn Nets Brook Lopez tonight.
He needs to be any form of Brook Lopez.
For real.
It's the finals.
Oh man. So the way I want to wrap up this part of the show, we're going to make our final predictions. I'm going to ask one major question to the 4 of you. Answer it as honestly as you can, and then we'll conclude it with the hilarious gossip that's going on with this league, and we know what we're talking about. So I'm going to ask you all individually. Let's start first with myself. Is when it comes, who is winning this finals, obviously, and then my big question on top of that is who needs this more as a franchise on the long term. Now, I think the Suns are going to take it, and I think the Suns could possibly start this great presence in the league. I'm not going to go as far as to call it a dynasty because the big factor is Chris Paul, and we know he's not. He's playing for 16 years, and this would be some way to go on top if he wants to keep playing. Some people think he might re-sign with another team next year, possibly my Knicks. But regardless, I think the franchise who needs this more is the Bucks, because of the ramifications that's going on, what's been taking place in this team, how good is this coach, if anything. So I think coming into this, that the Suns are going to take it. I think it's going to be a short series in 5 because of a hurt Giannis most of all, and the fact that he doesn't really have a major 2. It wasn't like with the Clippers being able to hold on with PG-13 and with the hurt Kawhi. The Bucks' identity is Giannis. Giannis is the big factor. He's like a Orlando Magic 08 against the Lakers type of influence on that team. And well, if they lose, obviously they'll blame the injury for it. And we can all now. This would be, I think, you would have a rare case of a coach who actually makes the finals but gets fired after it. A lot of people asking for his head. So I think the Suns are going to win their first finals franchise history, but the Bucks needed more of an impact for them in their city. So next with that, what do you think, Bach? That question: who wants it more, or who needs it more as a franchise, and who's going to take it
I
ultimately?
think Bucks in 6 or Suns in 6. I think the Suns need it more because you're not sure that you're going to get as many injuries to the teams that would like really threaten you again. And the fear fact that when it comes down to like a cornerstone, Giannis is a better building block than Booker, and he's got an easier path in the East. So there is a chance that let's say the Nets win the next 2, and then who knows what the fuck happens to that team. After that, Milwaukee's still the best option because but in the West, it's, you have a lot of teams on the come up. It's a different type of thing that the Suns will be fighting out with whatever happens to Golden State next year. At some point, Zion may be good or he may be gone. There's just too many teams in the West, so that like when you get out of the West, unless you have like a LeBron or a Jokic or a Kawhi, like one of these guys, like these all-time great guys, this is like you have to take this chance when you have it.
Definitely.
So I think that's why the Suns need more. Also, for the coaching thing, very quickly, I don't think Budenholzer gets fired simply on the fact that Carlson's already been hired.
Yeah, there's wouldn't be too many of options out there, or at least not any high-profile name ones. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what takes place with that. Dolo, the question is, who needs it more, and who's gonna win it ultimately?
Well, I definitely, I guess, from what we can gather from the talks that we had tonight, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I've made it clear that I'm more leaning towards the Suns winning. When Alex said he's thinking a possible sweep, that kind of made me open my eyes and think, yeah, that's possible. But I think a 5. I think the Suns in 5 sounds a little bit more reasonable. I think the Bucks can pull one off if Middleton gets right and Brook Lopez comes alive. But other than that, like the Suns, they've been getting a lot of steals too. Like they're they've been doing great on that end. I I definitely think the Suns in 5. As far as I mean, well, the thing is, like, it would take something ridiculous. I feel like it would take something ridiculous, like the fact that Chris Paul stole DeAndre Ayton's 20th rebound. I find that hilarious. That's just hilarious to me. I unless there's some wild alternate universe thing that happens where like they go to the locker room and they literally argue about that. Because I did hear Devin Booker kind of got at Chris Paul for that. But I don't think nothing's serious enough. But if there's some type of serious argument and then their chemistry is broken and they're not playing well, they're not meshing well, and maybe someone's trying to sabotage the other. I don't know if the Kendall Jenner curse comes down on Devin Booker in the middle of the series. Like, it would have to take something ridiculous for, like, I don't think the Bucks have zero chance like that. I'm kind of making it sound like that, but I just really see the Suns, like, everything's lining up for the Suns right now. And it's not really clicking that well for the Bucks.
Yep.
I definitely, so with that said, yeah, Suns in 5. As far as who needs it better as a franchise, I mean, Well, I think to me, I consider the Bucks like I guess they're like a small kind of franchise, but to me, they're a lot bigger than than just like a small town market. Like I think the Bucks have like I think they've made it abundant that that they're a force in the league. And yeah, they're paying Giannis a lot of money. Uh, I'm not too keen on what moves they can make to add or take from that team. I see the Suns being able to make more moves in the future. As you guys said with CP3, retiring soon. Uh, I, I I honestly feel like the Suns they got a bright future. I think the Bucks need it more as a franchise. I just see the Suns going in a lot better places, and the Suns kind of have a little bit of a history, so um of relevancy in the league. So yeah, I think the Bucks would need it more as far as their franchise goes. But
Great,
yeah, keep it there.
great stuff right there. Alex, what do you think of our big question? What's the big picture? Who needs it more? Who's actually taking it?
I think it's pretty simple. I think the Suns need it more. I at the beginning of the series I had Phoenix in 6, but I'm not going to overreact to last night's game either. But I mean the other night's game. But I think they just look completely outmatched. They looked gassed, and they don't look like the same team. Ironically enough, when Giannis is on the floor, just with this offense and the spacing and how their will to win. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna revise my pick and go Suns in 5. But to answer the other part of the question, I think Phoenix needs it far more just because they don't have one and Milwaukee does. I mean, look, like with this finals appearance berth, like they're both established as contenders moving forward, but there's no guarantees, like Bach said earlier, that they're going to be back immediately as soon as possible. There's a lot of teams coming back from injury in the West that have been contenders in years past and will be for the next few years. So I think it's a lot more competitive at the top of the West moving forward. So I think this is their time to seize the moment, and I think that's just what it boils down to. But with that said, I think they need it far more for that city and to keep the hope alive for Booker and Ayton moving forward. Because like you said, CP3's only got a couple more years left in my eyes. And then he's going to start passing the torch, or at least taking a smaller role the same way LeBron is going to have to moving forward. So I think Phoenix needs to seize the moment, and they need this more.
Somebody's time's up. Somebody's time's now. Great points from Alex Ranniello and Barz Tha God. Top it off for us. Who needs it more? Who's winning it?
Alex is like fucking gypsy or something. The man knows what I'm gonna say. like verbatim. He said verbatim. Like, I think the Suns are gonna take it. I said 5. The Suns in 5. If they win tonight, and Alex is serious, I'm jumping on that bandwagon. I'm pulling my broom out. You know what I'm saying? I'm pulling my broom out.
Man.
All I'm saying. I mean, hey, I pulled my broom out when the Suns swept the Nuggets. Nobody cleared that.
Oh, they did.
And it's okay.
Really did.
It's okay though.
Yeah.
So that Suns in 4, that guy's famous. I want mine. Like that's all I'm saying. Like, of course the Suns needed more. Both teams have 3 conference titles as of this year. The Suns were there last, I think, 1993, and before that in the 70s. The Bucks ain't been there in the 70s, right? But they got a chip. It counts. They got one. They got banners up there saying NBA champion. The Suns don't got that. And after some crazy, humiliating losses, in or that just one crazy one to Jordan, because I'm thinking about Stockton and the Jazz getting there a lot. Yeah, the Suns needed more. Point blank period, they needed more. Monty Williams needs it. Chris Paul needs it. Is there any other old school players on the bench? No. No old players on the bench.
On Phoenix?
Tyson Chandler. No, Tyson Chandler got his.
Yeah.
Yeah. No old players. No old players over there ain't got a ring. About to win one. No.
So
We talking
No.
about who is a ring on this this finals?
Let's imagine Taj Gibson's on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like
Nobody has a ring in this finals.
Yeah.
no, exactly. So you listen. Chris Paul, 16 years. Monty Williams has been on that, was at the start of that 16-year trip with Chris Paul. And now here they are just coming full circle. So as a franchise, as human beings, the Suns wanted more, period. And I think that, if they win game 3 in Milwaukee, it's a sweep.
yeah. Yep.
Signed,
With Giannis,
sealed,
with
and delivered
Giannis,
at that point.
With Giannis, it's a sweep.
Oh,
The point I have to kind of back up what Barz and I are kind of echoing is that, there is something to be said for Giannis being in his mid-20s and having so much, road ahead of him and steam left, but also the fact that he's under contract. It's not there's not nearly as much uncertainty with Milwaukee's situation besides the bench and how they're going to shake that up, especially with Budenholzer. Like, that is something to be reckoned with. But as far as your star and locking in your star, they're good there. But there's a lot more uncertainty at the top where Phoenix could pivot out of this role if they win or lose this series. So I think that Phoenix needs it now, and they need it more in general.
great points. And I think all this determines on how the actual rundown the series goes. I mean, if you get swept, it's not
something.
looking good. If you get
They
swept
get
for
swept
the
at firing
momentum,
these voters.
and yeah, look at other pastures. And
Not
we'll
this year,
see
next
if
year.
there's a chance. If Giannis, like I said, Dan Marino made the Super Bowl in his second season. Reckon it's a different sport, but never got back into the big game despite his glory. And Giannis has so many parallels in that it's kind of funny and ironic. But again, if you're one of the vets, you'll somehow win this at the end of the day. So we got so much fun with that in terms of finals. And obviously, once the finals conclude, we're all going to meet up again and reflect on this crazy NBA postseason and the season after that. And we're obviously doing draft coverage as well. But just one more story to conclude this particular episode. I think it's very rare when the NBA Finals, game 1 of the NBA Finals takes place, there's another story within the NBA that arguably overshadows it. And there's 2 of these things I've talked about. One turned into a sad, awkward diversity comment scandal. And then oddly that grew out of it is a sex conspiracy schedule. And we know what I'm talking about. ESPN's Rachel Nichols been in hot water this week. Now, I give her credit. She's been a great journalist. She's done a great job for the NBA. I do think she's an awesome personality. But the New York Times leaked a story of some very concerning comments regarding another reporter for ESPN who is, Maria Taylor, and her comments towards Maria Taylor, a fellow person of color reporter, while Rachel Nichols is white. And she said, quote, caught on camera a year ago, might I add, she did say the words regarding diversity and ESPN and Disney being, quote unquote, pressured to, give diverse credentials for candidates. And her exact quote is, if you need to give her more things to do because you are feeling pressure about your crappy long-time record on diversity, which, by the way, I know personally from the female side of it, go for it. That is what Rachel Nichols said on a call, which was published by the New York Times. And those were, again, where she was referring to, again, Maria Taylor is a person of color with that, obviously causing outrage, obviously not okay what she said. And, well, this cost her gig as a sideline reporter for the NBA. She was replaced by, excuse me, I'm so flaky on the name, but she was replaced by, I'll get that 1 second.
I forgot her name too, but she is gorgeous.
A very
Better
great
be good.
journalist out there.
Better be good.
Sage Steele?
excuse me, I will get her replacement shortly. But
People are gonna hate me for what I have to say.
interesting. Just don't offend anyone, make anyone sad. But
Everyone's always offended or feels sad. That's the worst part about the world we live in.
If
Like,
they feel
you
sad,
say
that's
something,
up to them.
you
That's
say
on them.
something, and then someone's feelings are hurt, or they cry, they get offended, and then the first thing they want to try to do.
Malika Andrews, Matt Brown.
yes,
There it
Malika
is.
Andrews,
Sound?
thank you for that. But yes, Malika
It's on there.
Andrews replaced her as the NBA sideline reporter. Now, okay, so Rachel Nichols is out. She did come back to the jump to yesterday, and generic apology, whatever, blah blah blah. Doing the other stuff when you're caught in a scandal like that and people want you canceled. So, I guess the big question here is, where do we go from here? And if people really have these thoughts and get it, there's a lot to unpack here. She was recorded without her knowledge. And again, this is something that ESPN has had for a year. You could criticize them despite her feelings with that. And if ESPN knew about this, why didn't they do anything about it over the past year until obviously we all found out? But very interesting thing how this is going. But like I said, I'll open the floor for who's to chime in. Where do we go from here? Should she be fired? Should ESPN keep her? I mean, what do we do?
Real quick, I'm tired of everyone losing their jobs or their opportunities because they said some shit that was like a little racy or a little like, spice context or whatever. Like, it literally, it's funny. It just brings me back to the whole, I saw a tweet. By Friday, James Gunn was fired from Disney. By Monday, DC gave him whatever he wanted. And that's facts. You know what I'm saying? It's like you could fire this man. Like, the dude Ralph Dibny said some racy things on from The Flash. Can't remember his actual name. Boom, he's gone too. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not molesting people. She's not killing anyone. She said some shit. She's a human being. You know? And I just hope that if Malika Andrews or not Malika Andrews, the chick she was talking about Maria Taylor gets caught saying some racy stuff, that they do the same to her. That's all I'm saying.
Now I kind of want to add to that, Barz. Like, you do have a good point. Like,
it's not because like real quick. It's not because if I'm correct, if I heard that correctly, she said, which I know as a woman, you know what I'm saying? Yep. Like, I bet, like, all right, she felt the type of way. Maybe she don't like her, but hey, she was probably telling the truth about the whole Disney thing and them having a crappy way of hiring people of color. And
there's definitely a history.
She
like,
made a point of it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's
they covered it up. They knew about it.
My bad to interrupt you, Barz. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You good.
But like, it's a lot of things to it. I mean, it's not too much to it, but it's enough depth to talk about. Like I guess my take on it is, one thing you got to remember, Barz, is that let's just say she had, a good stance in some type of argument. Maybe she had some type of argument there that, maybe some people would agree, right? What you got to remember is that it's something that she got caught saying behind the scenes. It's not something that she straight up said on she wouldn't dare
on Twitter.
Say
yeah,
that
she didn't put it on Twitter.
Hell no, she's not gonna tweet that. She know better because she knows she's wrong. And the thing is, it's like, it's something that she ended up taking back the next day. So whether she believed it or not,
I mean,
it doesn't matter. You took it all back the next day.
It wasn't the next day. It was like a year later.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a year-old
clip.
clip.
Of it being released.
Yeah.
Of it being released.
Yeah. So I mean,
like,
but she took it back because she had to. But if you stop and really think about
she
it,
didn't have to.
She did.
That was her choice.
You don't have to.
Tamika Mallory.
No, you don't have to.
Tamika Mallory didn't take it back. They fired Tamika Mallory, and she ended up doing her thing. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't they fire Jamil Hill for something similar to that?
You don't get fired if you don't want to get fired, take it back.
Is
That's
that?
what I
I'm
like.
sorry, Dave. My bad to interrupt you, Barz. I'm sorry, Dave. I might have the name wrong. Jamel is Tamika Mowry. That's the girl, right, with the dreads that was saying something. I'm not really sure who Jamel.
Shamil Hill was the one who, my understanding, was fired over saying something political. She's now a commentator for CNN. My understanding, from what I remember, Jamil Hill said something about Trump, I think, and I think that's why. And then because I know he specifically called her out.
Right.
So I don't know if it was
Yep.
that was what it was. But look, but you're
Right,
not.
right.
I mean, it's mixed. There is mixed history of, at least especially now, people doing or saying something and keeping their jobs.
Yeah.
This is not a political pod, so I'm not going to roll off all the ones off the top of my head. But
Right.
you know,
My whole thing is she got caught saying
it's
saying her thoughts when she thought the camera was off, or whenever she thought whatever was off. She's human. She should have never said it, but she's human. Like, all right, so that's what she feels about black girls or whatever, but she obviously wants to go on black guys. Like, it's like, have you watched a Rachel Nichols interview? Like it's like she's throwing this, like she's like just all she's got to do is just open her legs or something. Like, I don't know. Like,
Oh,
man.
So canceled. You're canceled. You're bad.
yeah,
Bad. Bad.
I know. See what I'm saying? I spoke my mind.
Barz,
and
you
now
messed
someone's-
up.
Right.
You
So,
messed
so
up.
here's the thing.
No.
Here's the thing. We need a whole another episode so I could just unload and talk shit on Disney all day long. But I'll keep it short and
Yeah,
sweet.
fuck Disney. They
So
ruined
I'll
Star
keep it short
Wars.
and sweet because they have no business they have no business owning a sports media conglomerate like ESPN.
Facts.
No business doing it. The whole reason I went to sports when I was a kid, the whole reason I went to sports when I was a kid, and that I still do, is because it's an escape from reality. No politics, no bullshit, no nothing. And I know it's a cop out and it's cheesy and this and that, but it's true. And the thing is,
your issue appears to be with capitalism.
the problem is that they just want to cancel.
Yeah.
They want to cancel everybody, and they want to let people go on literally like little to nothing, and it's just bullshit.
Yeah, that's the big thing at the end of the day in this talk. It's another example of cancel culture being a huge story and ruining careers.
Okay,
Yes,
hold
we-
up.
She's been an exceptional journalist for over 20 years, and now we're just going to cancel
Yeah.
it. One thing they said that they took from her out of context completely without her knowing. Okay, sure.
I think that's the culture that she contributed to, though.
I don't
So
think she's a
it's kinda-
racist though.
But I'm
No,
not
I
even
don't
saying
think
that
she's
either.
at all. I don't think she's racist at all.
That's what a lot of places are implying. It's just
Because
racist.
it's Disney. That's what
I mean,
Disney
well,
does.
she could. Honestly don't know. You know, it just sounded really off. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
don't get me
it
wrong.
depends. Like, can you
Don't
say?
yeah,
get
we
me wrong.
don't condone what
I mean,
she
racist.
said.
I don't
at
condone
all.
what she
No,
said.
of course
I
not.
don't.
I'm not either.
I'm just not
No.
with the firing people for saying
Right,
stuff.
right.
I'm just
Yeah.
not with that.
Well,
Like,
hold up.
all right,
It also depends on what they're saying.
That's another thing. That's
Right,
another
right.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, like,
It's a lot of it is a case by case basis that you
Very
can't
much
just say blanket firing people and using the term. Look, I don't want to hop into on this, but the term cancel culture is so stupid.
Thank
It
you.
has lost almost all meaning. This is
Right.
this is something I talk about from time to
It
time
never
because
had
it's
any meaning.
meaningless. No, because there is like real issues with cancel culture if you understand like the history of like mob stuff and like the Red Scare and McCarthyism. That isn't
Barz,
relevant
I
to
know.
this conversation, but it's I didn't really pay attention to this. This is not the gossip columns of sports is not my forte. So mostly that's why I've been quiet and let you guys. I just don't want to like. There is a little nuance to this, obviously, but blanket statements are always an issue. And then this idea of like being filmed, being recorded without your knowledge
Yep.
is less of an issue depending on where it is, because there are states that have one-way verification, such as
Yeah,
New York,
that's the one thing.
where you can be recorded without your knowledge and it's not
Wait, I
illegal.
just-
So if your
sorry,
issue
Dave.
is the
I
fact that
didn't
it
know that.
Yeah,
Dave, I just want to interrupt.
I think Connecticut
she
and
left her
oh,
camera on. She left her camera on by accident. It wasn't somebody wasn't
oh
recording.
well, that's just
I
bad.
don't think.
That's bad journalism.
Yeah.
Or she's
Oh,
that's
being a
bad
bad
journalism.
idiot.
That's
She
the
left her
one thing
mic
they
on.
teach you is you
Facts.
take it off so you don't go take a piss. That's
Yo,
the
but
first thing they
like-
teach you about that.
But
Oh, I
yo,
didn't even
like,
know.
but
That's-
yo,
That's
like,
the first
she didn't
look.
record-
It's the same. Look, we're all streaming right now. this is how this goes back to Jeffrey Tubin very quickly. I don't understand how people like get caught doing things after they were done streaming. Like you take the camera off, you shut it all down, and then you go about your business. Like you're a professional journalist for 20 years. You should know whether or not you're mic'd or not.
Exactly.
Like if this was actually a recording based on a mic, that makes it worse on her because first of all, she understood like that's like the third rule of journalism.
Right. Yo, she's made a mic error like a couple times in her 20 years as a journalist. I know like she like basically like made a pass at one of them players and she forgot she was mic'd up. Like I can't remember who it was, but it was on court. It was on court.
Yeah. At the end, you were saying
Jimmy Bucket.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think this is so apropos of our culture too. Like people like they want to get the headline first, but they don't want to get it right. It's not accurate journalism as it should be. And the problem too is like they're making too much of attention about things that aren't really going on. They're trying to make stories of things that aren't stories, and that's kind of where I'm with Bach on this. It's just like I don't need to keep up with the rumors about this because it's not news.
Yeah. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but it's just our social media makes the news, and
of course it's self-feeding. That's how they do this.
Yep.
Right. And having said that, in the other
that's what generates
story,
the clicks, their revenue, so that a giant corporation that makes
controls
a mouse can buy a sports media.
Right.
And how else?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was going up against capitalism.
How else better to power the engine by having a bunch of people who are scared to say their real thoughts out loud, run on the internet, and just go speak whatever they want to speak. No one can harm them, and
But Disney has had a tyrannical overarching structure.
I mean,
how they took over ESPN, and that's why everybody's left in the past 5-10 years. I've been on record saying that in my other outlets, my other platforms, like they're digging their own grave. So more power.
Absolutely. To them. I don't think Bill Simmons will have that.
They own Discovery Channel.
They fired the sports guy.
Why? Why does Disney need to own Discovery Channel?
That's
they own Nat Geo, but
Nat Geo,
you seem to be.
Nat Geo.
You seem to not understand how capitalism works.
No, Nat Geo.
They don't.
They own Nat
Geo. I bet they got an ill ass.
It's all on Disney Plus.
Go on Disney Plus. Go on Disney Plus. You'll see everything they own.
Exactly. And talking about ridiculous stories.
I thought about Disneyland when you said
that's like the fourth time you said capitalism. Bat wants to get into that. I gotta find his capitalism podcast.
Look, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
One thing.
I gotta find
talking about episode. Ridiculous stories and talking about making news out of nothing, but you just can't help but laugh. At least I can't. Like I said, somehow this story about someone's comments on diversity divulged into a possible conspiracy, and we know what it is. After this, for some reason, someone brought this up. Hey, remember when Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler were playing? Were doing a Twitch stream playing some game, and then Karl Anthony Towns just tells him, "Why don't you go cry to Rachel Nichols?" And obviously, she's the big story. Things are coming together, and pretty much people are trying to figure out in the bubble. Did Jimmy Butler, who was on the Miami Heat, was Jimmy Butler and Rachel Nichols getting it on? And
Matt.
with all, just 1 second, Dolo, just with all this evidence we're seeing, and I can't believe that I actually spent a day looking at all these clues, and I'll show you a clue shortly. But
am I on The View?
Yeah, the way some of these things have unfolded, yeah, maybe there is a good chance. And, I think the big thing.
Why do you think I keep offering to say capitalism? I'm trying to replace Meghan McCain.
And I think when you see an interview like this.
Oh, man.
And keep it at basketball. I know that I have.
I just want to lead off.
I keep it at that for now, and keep it at basketball.
Giving those eyes, huh?
I don't know how well playing a video works for a podcast.
Reach.
I've got to feel like it's a little bit of a reach too.
Yo, because I saw that entire interview. Because I'm a Miami guy. I saw the entire interview. While I said, it's Rachel seemed like. Rachel seemed like she just gonna open up and everything gonna be a go, but I think that's just the way she makes you feel comfortable as a reporter. You know what I'm saying? Because some of these guys aren't really open to talking. You know,
athlete interviews could be hella boring.
yo, dude, imagine getting an interview at a Kawhi. Oh yeah.
Yo, I always
But I just want to
What do you
also
mean?
say
You
one of the big
Kyrie.
I don't
Right?
ever want to hear Kyrie speak. I just watch him play. He can just never talk. Just play.
X.
And the major rumor regarding this is there was one day in the bubble where there was noise coming out of Jimmy Butler's room, and it was a thump noise, bump, 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 bump.
Jesus
Security
Christ.
guard allegedly knocks on the door, checks what's happening. Jimmy Butler's sweating, and he said, "Oh, I was just dribbling a basketball while sweating in his room. He's supposed to be quarantining in."
Now, the
And
difference
he
between
was-
a ball dribbling on the floor and you giving the girl back shots, that's if the sound was equivalent to a ball dribbling hard on the floor by a 6'8" man, however tall he is.
Yeah,
Stroke game
exactly.
I mean,
And the
A+,
rumors that
10
they said,
stars.
people said it sounded like two people were making love in there. Not saying it was Rachel Nichols. It could
No,
be
dude.
anyone, but
They were doing push-ups.
all right,
you
bet.
know,
Look, keep game.
we'll see what
Those
happens.
Those rumors came out last year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the problem with it is they only resurfaced because the whole Rachel Nichols thing
Of
and
course.
because what Carl Anthony Towns said. In that interview, I think she asked him about like some stuff involving like his past teams or whatever and his past his past experiences. And that's probably why Kat was talking about you should go cry to Rachel Nichols.
Maybe too. This could
And-
all be bullshit.
Cat look like he
Definitely
got
right.
a big mouth, man.
Didn't he
Well, yeah.
right after
I
Jimmy
can-
blew up that practice? Didn't he go do an interview with Rachel Nichols, like with the Minnesota, the one that basically they traded him? Did I just get
I think
the one they
so,
traded
hey,
him after?
Boom. There you go. Look, in the original rumor that's like Jimmy was doing something in his room, he was in full gear. They said he opened the door in like full attire. So
Yeah, I heard that too.
so now
Mhm.
the whole Rachel Nichols thing.
It's
now
not
he's
even like
sticking
that
with her?
rumor, like him dribbling the basketball like that is that far fetched.
You said it's far fetched.
Like the actual rumor that he was dribbling it is not that far fetched. Like the dude is a lunatic.
Yo, like Jimmy busted an entire team by himself with the scrubs. So I just if the man's dribbling, son. And then he said he was drenched in sweat. So he opened the door, he put his entire uniform on real quick, and grabbed his basketball. Listen, if I'm bleeding out, if I'm clapping some cheeks, there is no way. I'm gonna just answer the door with a towel on it.
You wouldn't even try to
shorts
hide
off,
the fact
like
that
I
you
was
just
dribbling.
clap Rachel Nichols' cheeks.
No, So the question she asked him during the interview was, "You got your
Yeah.
reputation and name in this league after all the dirty work you do on the court." And then he just winked.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then look,
my God.
and look, and look, and look, and this is the thing.
Yo,
This is the thing.
mass
This is the thing.
suggestion.
And this is the thing. This is the thing. Two things are wrong here. Right? Either Jimmy got weak strokes, because they didn't say anyone was screaming any passionate love noises. They just said they heard her thumping, right? So either Jimmy got weak strokes or Rachel could take that. Well, that's all
No,
I'm
maybe she had a
saying.
pillow. Maybe she had a pillow.
Bars canceled.
Maybe she had a pillow. You know what I'm saying?
Pillow, son.
Muffled.
You can still hear muffled, bro.
Hitman.
If you slapping that, if the way he was thumping, if you slapping that, you could.
No, for
I
sure.
heard
I
somebody
agree.
smoke-
Hell yeah.
Yo.
No. That's a fact. I agree with
Come
you.
on, bro.
But, you know what I'm saying? But
I wonder.
You haven't
with-
had a pillow in a long time. That's all I know is they
man.
should have started this. If they would have started these rumors from back in Minnesota, oh yeah, I'm on the train. But they just one tracking it. Literally, this is obviously just something thrown out there to take our mind off of the whole.
Yeah,
what
it could
Rachel
be
Nichols
too.
thinks that because right after that came out, an Adrian Wojnarowski rumor comes out right after that. And Woj already did this whole thing where he said some racy stuff already. Come on, man. Listen, and people don't like
I'm
Woj
not hip to that.
because
I'm not
people,
hip to that.
people don't like Woj because they feel like Woj cancel culture's up and coming players because he doesn't have any influence, and all the influence he has is like front office and aides and stuff, and other people have like the inside track. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
He was grandfathered in, right?
So, you know what I'm saying? These other guys, they're dogged with their ability to get the information on a lot of these dudes get coming in and up and coming players. Woj don't have that, and people feel like he's blackballed a couple players and people because.
But Barz, my contesting with that is, yeah, he may have said some things, and more information will continue to come out if we continue to pursue the story. But the thing is, isn't the number one priority as a journalist to keep your information protected? Like, why would you divulge anything to your competition, let alone in the same company? That's what I don't understand.
That's a fact. No, you're 100% correct. So it's all nonsensical if you ask me, man. None of it makes sense, and it's all hellacious because they just want you to take your mind off of whatever else is going on. So they're just throwing stuff out there. The Rachel Nichols story is not that serious, to be honest. Like, no one's gonna remember by next week. They're just gonna be like, damn, who's this bad chick on the court? That's it.
I'm just the last thing I have with this,
blowing out,
and they don't owe or have to do this. I'm just why didn't neither party deny the rumors either? They don't have to, but I just think it'd be helpful if they did.
A wise man once said nothing at all.
So that'll always be one of those sports conspiracy theories. Like Cal Ripken's wife getting cheated on with Kevin Costner. Have you ever heard that? Or,
I think there's plenty of don't ask,
Monte West and LeBron's mom.
Yeah, that. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Did the Patriots really deflate the ball? We'll never know.
Exactly. Sometimes some mystery.
Giselle deflated his.
Just some mysteries. Just some mysteries are better left unsaid. And at the end of the day, I think this just shows our last 20 minutes as ESPN has a lot of cleaning up to do. Shit.
Yo, listen, we're no laced up podcast. We're no laced up podcast. We're no first take. You know what I'm saying? We're no first things first. But I like what we got going on here, guys.
I am athlete.
Like, we bring a certain je ne sais quoi to this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, with Batch and Alex coming in with their super stats, and me and Dolo bringing that rough edge of hardcore fans, and I'm like Brandon Marshall, he's like Shannon Sharp, either or, I don't know. It's so funny, but I had to make these comparisons because I just had to touch on what Alex said in the chat, and you're 100% right. Nick is just a jock rider. Like, he's a jock. What was that Batch? Was that Batch that said it?
Wait, who?
Oh, Nick Wright.
I love Nick Wright. I love Nick Wright.
He's
don't get me wrong, but he's a jock rider.
Thank you.
Like, he really is. Damn, who else did you get on, yo? It was hilarious, man.
I got Coward. I said he makes every analogy into a relationship that he failed at.
I hate Colin Cowherd. He's the worst at it. I think Matt's got a better setup.
Yes, thank you for that.
Like, that's a fact.
Now listen,
Matt's got some real crazy things going on. So he's like Greeny.
Max Kellerman sucks when he talks about basketball and football and stuff, but when he talks about boxing, he's very good at talking about that. But basketball, he's pretty I can't.
Yeah. I'm you can call me the Black Max Kellerman then when it comes to anything that doesn't have to do with NBA or NFL.
So here's the thing, Barz. I said, so this is verbatim from the chat. I said, Perk is too hood for TV with zero rebuttal skills. Skip hates LeBron, bias towards everything cowgirls. I said, Colin makes all his segments into relationship analogies just like his failed marriage. And Nick Wright is bronze-sexual and pro Kansas City with zero objectivity.
Yo, bro, you wrote this in the DM?
Yo, you didn't see
I must have missed that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and everyone's referring to there was a viral tweet.
I am so sorry, Alex. I missed that complete. That sounds epic.
Just 1 second. The reason, just for people who don't know, in our chat, there was a viral tweet that went out. Who is the worst sports analyst? They picked Kendrick Perkins, Nick Wright, Skip Bayless, and Colin Cowherd. These are their takes for that. Between
Kendrick Perkins and Paul Pierce.
You could throw Ryan Hollins in there too.
Oh,
Paul Pierce is no longer analysis. He doesn't count.
He got fired.
He said Ryan Hollins in there too, yo.
How about Big Whitlock?
Yo, I'm so dead.
Yo, Big Whitlock or McIntyre, J-Mac.
Oh, J-Mac.
The answer is
he's trash too.
Yo, I've come to hate I've come to hate what's his face, ball guy.
Can we all acknowledge that Nick Wright looks like DJ Khaled and Squidward?
Yo,
All right, that's a good. It's been a good
yo.
streak, fellas.
As long as you acknowledge that Chris Middleton looks like Dory's older brother.
Oh,
That's-
baby.
Oh my
Got him.
goodness. Well, on that note,
Yeah,
it's been a great time. We're gonna talk once the finals conclude. With that, we have more NBA coverage on the finals of free agency. But again, these are my guys: Dolo Ren, Barz Tha God, David Bach, Alex Ranniello. Thank you
Wait.
so much for a great time.
Wait,
Watch the finals game 2 tonight. And one last thing, Barz, what's up?
wait. I'm Shannon Sharp. Dolo's the good Perkins because he's hood, too hood for TV, right? Matt is the Colin Cowherd, right?
What?
And
He said,
I'll
"What?"
take his. I'll
Don't
take his.
call
I'll
me
take
Skip.
his money.
Don't call me Skip.
he said,
He
"Don't
said,
call
"Don't call
me
him
Skip."
Don't call me Skip. You're gonna be out in the street, my man.
Yo, I gotta give Skip the badge. I gotta give Skip the badge.
Drip Bayless.
Man.
But no,
Drip
but
Bayless.
one last thing before we go off.
Yo,
we got
Skip
we got
his facts. Don't get Skip wrong. Skip will eat it alive. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But he's wrong
But
sometimes.
here's the thing. What's the old saying?
Street
Control your ideas. Don't let ideas control you.
Yo,
Damn.
Alex is
right.
greeny. Alex is greeny.
Oh gosh.
Most
Yeah.
importantly,
Guys.
we are ourselves. With that, my name is Matt Brown. I have the best NBA crew to talk hoops with me, and we'll see you all
Sir.
very, very soon. Have a great night, guys.
Boys, be safe.
Badge
Good talking to
Bayless.
y'all. Y'all be safe.
See ya.
Yo.
See you guys.